Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I've got 3 replays in the Western Alliance Era 2 Premium Medium Tank, the Gau-8 Avenger Black Edition. Now if you do like the video as always, don't forget to like and subscribe down below as it really does help out the channel. And yes, the Gau-8, it is obviously going to be back on sale now since the Black Friday sales have started. What's it like as a vehicle? Well, it's one of those tanks that is very hit and miss. Sometimes it's absolutely disgustingly filthy. You just delete someone and sit there going, oh. And sometimes it can't pen anything. You sit there as you do 1 to 2 damage on things as you hit them, and then you get wrecked because you've got absolutely no armour. It's very, very hit and miss in the way it is. You've got to play it in a specific way to get the most out of it, and that is try and catch people off guard, catch them out and then delete them with the main gun, and play that sort of assassin role where you appear out of nowhere, go, hello friend, I can pen you, and just delete. That's the way that the Gau-8 is, and it can be a royal pain, especially depending on the matchup, because there's some matchups where there's quite a few tanks in there that you just won't be able to do anything about unless you actually get up behind them. And it's one of those tanks as well that is also in the kind of game where it's kind of long-range engagements that you're not going to do very well in this thing at all unless those tanks are really pure paper that you're firing at. So if you get an Erlenberg, for example, where some of the fights are extremely long-range and you struggle to get up close and personal without getting ATGM'd and all that sort of stuff, it can be a royal pain to get the most out of this vehicle on that kind of map. But when you get into the sorts of fights where you can get up close and personal, track people and get up behind them and just delete or shoot people in the side that are fairly weak in the sides, or go through drive wheels, that sort of thing, like Mr. Type 74 here, you can just, yeah, go through and delete them. It's a really filthy thing indeed for this gun. So the Gau-8 Black, it's got a 59.1 km/h top speed, 25.3 km/h reverse speed with the build that we're running, 787.5 horsepower with that 17.92 horsepower per ton ratio, which means it gets to its top speed pretty well. It's a very, very mobile vehicle. 15% internal fire chances in the middle of fire chances, and it does like getting set on fire if you get shot in the engine deck area, so do be careful of that. Your ground resistances don't hold the tank back whatsoever, just like most vehicles in Cold War. 574 metres of view range is good enough to be able to spot for yourself in most scenarios for the Gau-8, which is good. You've got a 71.22 degree a second turret rotation speed. That's rapid. That's a fast turret traverse. I didn't realise it was that fast. That means that this turret does turn very, very quickly. You got 1.45 accuracy during rotation with a 0.76 accuracy during movement. So when you turn the turret, the aim circle does bloom out quite a bit, but when you're on the move, the accuracy is actually really quite good. 10 degrees of gun depression means that you're very, very flexible on the ridgeline, which is definitely lovely for the vehicle. You've got a 1.88 second aim time, so it doesn't take too long to get this gun aimed in anyway to be able to get firing with it. You've got this 30mm Gatling type gun, which has a 0.01 second intra-clip reload, which means it fires a lot of rounds extremely quickly. And in fact, you actually fire more rounds than you see visually because the game can't keep up with how fast you actually fire. So when you fire and you see one shell tracer hit someone, it's more like seeing 4 hit them. And you hit them for the 15 damage a shot, which, like I say, is when you end up just deleting someone so quickly because the damage does rack up really, really fast if you can penetrate these shots. It does have 0.28 accuracy at 100 meters, which, again, is pretty accurate, and if you're firing like this, as you see, most of your shots do go where you are aiming with it. 9.39 second reload is for just when you switch between APCR or the HE, and for when you start the game loading, as you have this overheat mechanic, and the overheat mechanic, when you hit the end and you do end up overheating the gun, takes 18 seconds to then get to a point where you can start firing again, but your best is wait for it to go all the way down on the bar before you do that, because if you hit the overheat after firing 2 shells again, you'll be waiting another 18 seconds, which can be definitely a bit frustrating. It's one of those kinds of guns that you really do need to be pulsing the shots, so you fire a little bit of a salvo and then wait and then do it again, just to let the overheat stop, because otherwise it does get very, very awkward when you do have to reload. Because the one thing you have is that 9.39 second reload for the actual clip, which only counts for when you're reloading which type of shell you want, which is why it says damage per minute for this vehicle is 53,000, and you go, what? 53,000 DPM, that's only if you actually can pull the trigger and keep firing as if the overheat mechanic didn't exist. So the DPM is not a thing for this tank in terms of a stat that you can look at reliably. You've got 92mm of penetration on the standard APCR. You've got 40mm of penetration on the HE round, which can be useful in certain situations, but for the most part you're going to be firing mostly the APCR rounds. With 92mm of penetration, that does struggle to go through quite a few vehicles, and you have to really know where you're shooting to get, you know, to be able to get the pen on these tanks, to be able to get that damage to rack up so rapidly. And as you've seen in this replay, it's catching up behind someone, tracking someone to make sure that you can get up behind them and get the shots in where you need to. You've got 1,013 meters a second shell velocity on the APCR rounds, which is only slightly above average, so you do have to give a fair bit of lead if you're shooting at someone at distance, but it's not too bad, obviously, when you're up close. And the spin-up delay is 0.5 seconds, so when you pull the trigger, it'll take 0.5 seconds, and then it'll start firing all the shells. As you see that game there with the Ace Tanker, the high caliber, the Top Gun for 2006 basic P. Nice game there for the Gau-8 Black Avenger, which does have a 150% silver bonus, by the way, which means it does make pretty decent silver, and especially since it doesn't have any premium rounds, it does make pretty good silver for this tank, which is nice as well. But obviously you've got to do the damage to be able to get that silver, as doing the damage at times, like I say, can be a royal pain. As well as that, you've got the premium vehicle earn rate as well is 70%, so you actually make a 70% extra on the XP as well, just like most of the other black vehicles. So what do I run in terms of a crew and equipment for the Gau-8 Avenger? Well, in terms of a crew and equipment, now we've got this new crew and equipment system. I do run Born Leader, Run and Gun, Snapshot, Trap Mechanic, Expert Gunner, Rapid Aim, Clutch Braking, Radio Jamming, the Armour Angling with Armour Hardening, Turbocharger, Vents, and Stabilizer. The stabs to keep the accuracy, draw, and rotation and movement down as low as possible, same as running Run and Gun, just so that this gun is always ready to go and I can just snap onto things and delete where I need to. Rapid Aim to make that turret traverse better. It's a bit overkill really with how good the turret traverse is, so you could definitely switch that out for something like supply conservation or anything like that. Clutch Braking to make the track traverse better, because it's always nice to make the tank feel more nimble. Radio Jamming to just reduce the amount of time I'm spotted for by 3 seconds, as that can be pretty handy for the vehicle, especially in a position like this, where we can get back behind the ridgeline, get unspotted quicker, and then be ready to go assassinate somebody else. The Expert Gunner, just to increase the chance of doing module damage by 6%, which can be something that can be a bit memey for a gun like this, so that you're more chance of, you know, setting people on fire or that sort of thing. And Vents just to make everything about the tank generally better. But again, there's plenty of different ways you could kit out this vehicle. You could definitely drop Vents, for example, to run something like the Missile Warning System or the Reinforced Internals to make it less likely to get set on fire, all that good stuff. You could run Optics to be able to increase the amount of view range you have to spot things at further distances, or run the Spore Liner to reduce the module damage from ATGMs by 25%. There's plenty of different things that you could definitely run on this tank instead of something like Vents or even the Gun Stabilizer. It's one of those tanks that's very, very flexible in what you can run. Would I ever recommend running the camo stuff for it? Not really, because it has terrible camo, and it still has terrible camo when you do that. But yeah, it's really down to you and how you want to get the best out of this vehicle. So this second replay that you're seeing here is on this map, which is Kasserine. Yeah, Kasserine. Got there in the end. And on Kasserine, we've seen most of our team is going towards their cap, and they've got quite a few tanks that seem to be going along the A line. So if we'd stayed in that position we were in, it's likely we'd have probably got outflanked and then outnumbered pretty quickly, meaning we'd have just got killed. So we've got ourselves out of that situation, going towards where our team is, but we're still in a position where if we need to get back to the cap and try and reset if they do decide to cap it, we can do that. So we see the rock crawler in front of us. We've got the Magak 6B GAL as well on our left. So we're just trying to get some shots into those guys. But again, we're always keeping our eye on the fact that we've got the rock crawler on our right, because if that guy decides to shoot us, it's going to be a painful time. And in fact, there he is, looking towards us. I think, no, I'm not chancing that. Nope, no chance. No sirree. Nope, nope, nope. So they've started capping, and this is where we need to go back to be able to defend it, because if we leave them to cap, we're just going to lose the game. We are the person in the key position. So the 30B2 comes round, and, well, the 30B is going to learn the pain. You can see us feather it there because of the fact that we're about to hit the overheat, and we end up finishing off that 30B2 in what was a blink of an eye. because that's what it was. That's just how fast this thing deletes something if it can pen it. I'm not quite sure the 30B2 expected that, but yeah. But you also saw the trigger discipline with the Gau-8 there, with the overheat mechanic, that when we realised we were about to overheat, we just showed a bit of discipline, stopped firing, let it cool down a little bit, and then finished him off. And that meant that we were ready to go in case we needed to get shots at someone like the BMP, or get the shots into these guys that are capping. So we've managed to reset one of the guys on the cap, which is this Gau-8 Black. I'm trying to just delete him, but we end up bouncing quite a few shots. Get stuck in the overheat because we didn't show the discipline we needed to there to stop the overheat from happening. And the BMP2 from earlier that we actually took most of his hit points away came back for some revenge. And sadly for us, he ends up finishing us off, but thankfully enough for us, KB managed to finish off the game to secure the victory for us there. We finished the game with the Rinnos total for the Gau-8 Black. The victory, 2 kills, 10,500 damage, 1670 base XP, with the second class, the high caliber, and that 1670 basic speed, like I say. A really nice game there for the Gau-8 Black, which again showed the good and the bad of it, where when you catch people out that you can delete, oh my lord, you just delete them. But then you've got no armor yourself, and when you are under pressure by things that can pen you quite easily, even the autocannons on the MX-30Bs can do it, your hit points evaporate very, very quickly. And you do need the hit points on this tank to take a hit, to be able to get into a position where you can pen people to just eviscerate them. So now we're on to this third replay. In this third replay, we are here on Grim Graveyard. And, oh boy, this is going to be a game. This is one of those games where, get out of here, you little pest, where just it all goes lovely. So you can see me trying to feather the shots on the drive wheel of this T80 here, right? Because we can pen the drive wheel of a T80, but again, I didn't want to just overheat. And we're not even in the first minute of the game. We're already up to 2,100 damage with a bit of assistance damage. We see the MX-30B2 on the hill. If I can catch some shots into his side, that would be great. M60 in front of us. This is going to be about having a bit of patience and waiting for the opportunity to get the shots out with this Warthog gun that just absolutely melts. It's one of those guns that is seriously satisfying to use when it works, but then seriously frustrating to play with when it doesn't. Oh, Mr. BMP, you've made mistakes, buddy. Oh, boy. I'm not sure what that BMP was trying to do there. He came over within his minimum arming distance, fired the ATGM too close, got the doink sound, and then got deleted. Yeah. Oh, Mr. Vickers. Oh, that was a lot of your hit points as well. And we're up to 5,100 damage with 1281 assistance. And again, these guys pushing up on the hill on Grim Graveyard are giving me the perfect shots into their side. If we can find the shots now into the 30B2, again, I'm just feathering it because I don't want to waste too many rounds where I can't pen something, because we only have a limited amount of rounds, and it is actually quite easy if you just hold the trigger down to blow all of the rounds straight away, and then you have the rest of your game where you sit there going, ah, I don't have anything left. This is quite awkward. So we know there was something firing from the side. Oh, M60. I can pen an M60 in the side. Oh, boy. There goes a lot of his hit points. If you shoot an M60 in the side, especially shoot it towards the rear where the engine deck is, because that's where you will pen it with this Gau-8 Black. And it's the same as firing it at it with any of the autocannons from the 30B2s as well, like the Brennus, the Forad, the 30B2, and the MX-30B as well, or 30B66. Any of those kinds of guns, or in the Term 3 as well, if you shoot an M60, any of the M60 variants, towards the rear of the side, you're more likely to pen than you are at the front of the side because it's slightly less armoured. So we're up to that 7,057 damage, 2,208 assistance damage, and again, we're just trying to find the next person to shoot at. Now, we've got to be careful, because we're still detected, which we ended up just killing the person that was still staring at us by accident. That poor guy, that Vickers ended up getting killed because we shot at somebody else. That was really unfortunate for that dude. But the fact that the detected was still going off all the time made me go, oh boy, where's the ATGM vehicle? Because that's just what always goes through my brain. The XM800T is coming. We're going to make sure to lead it so we can get rid of this pest. We end up tracking the pest, make sure, put all of the shots into him to finish him off for our 9,600th set of damage, and get the 4th kill of the game. That's one of the things that is really satisfying when you play this tank. The XM800Ts that go, aha, I can YOLO you. You go, well, my son, my gun deletes you. And you delete them. The Type 74E is trying to run away. And, yeah, we don't allow that. We just don't allow Type 74s to get away as we put all the shots into its rear there, securing our 5th kill of this game, up to 11,618 damage. And I want that top gun. We've also got 4K assistance as well. The M60's here. I'm deciding, okay, I'm going to do the thing that you've already seen me do once in this video, which is track him, get around the side, where I can just try and spray him, secure our 6th kill of this game, and then get our top gun there for 6 kills. 12,053 damage. The T-55 Enigma's about to be swarmed by tanks down below. That means that we know where one of the other tanks is, the light tank and the heavy. They are over on our left-hand side, so let's get towards them. But in fact, we now have shots towards this Enigma. So I'm just trying to, now we've got a track in there, trying to get the shots into his rear. And we secure our 7th kill of this game, putting us up to nearly 13,000 damage. One vehicle left alive. It's Mr. BMP2. Can we get that 8th kill? That'd be very, very nice if we could get that 8th kill. He's popped into a smoke screen, so we've just got to try and use the mobility of the vehicle to get there as fast as possible. But unfortunately for us, we don't quite get there to secure our 8th kill. We finished the game with an absolutely amazing total there for the Gau-8 Black. We finished with the epic victory, 7 kills, 13,000 damage, 4.5k assistance. I mean, what's that? 17.5k combined or 17k combined, something like that, with the ace tank of the top one, the high caliber. As we finish with that 2.2k base XP, a really great game for the Gau-8 Black, which, like I say, is one of those vehicles that is very hit and miss. If you play it like we've just done in this video, you will get quite a lot out of it. You've really got to know where to put yourself. You've really got to know where you are shooting vehicles, where the weak points are for you to be able to pen with 92mm of penetration, and then you've got to try and maneuver the situations to get this gun in the game. Because if you just sit there firing at the fronts of stuff like Enigmas or 4.2-on-1s or quite a few of the tanks in Era 2, to be fair, you're just going to sit there doing very little. So as always, everybody, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.
A great success!